Hi everyone, my name is Cyril Jean Viscano, and today I will be presenting the topic of women's right. What is women's right? Women's rights are the fundamental human rights that were enshrined by United Nations for every human being on the planet nearly 70 years ago. These are the rights that promote a position of legal and social equality of women with men. Conventional on elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. The Bill of Rights for Women, aka CEDAW, Conventional on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, was adopted by the UN in 1979 and took effect on September 3, 1983. As of February 2015, it has 188 states parties that agreed to implement the provision of the treaty. States who commit themselves to the convention should undertake these measures to end discrimination against women in all forms. There are currently 99 signatories and 188 states parties to the CEDAW. The United States is the only signatory that has not yet ratified the convention. The other 5 UN member states that have not ratified or acceded to the convention are Iran, Norway, Somalia, Sudan, and Tonga. Meanwhile, I'll focus on more specific women's right, which is the right to vote, also known as female suffrage, women's suffrage, or women's right to vote. In 1893, the British colony of New Zealand granted women's right to vote, and in 1902, Australia was the first country in the world to give women both the right to vote in federal election and also in the right to be elected to the parliament on national basis. Women rights to vote in Australia. In 1902, Australia was the first country in the world to give women both the right to vote in federal election and also in the right to be elected in the parliament on national basis. Suffragettes was a term used to describe all women who campaigned for the right to vote in election. In 1891, the suffragettes gathered 33,000 women's signatures and presented them as petition to the Victorian Parliament. The suffragettes argued that women should be able to vote and stand for election because the wishes of women should be reflected in the parliament. They argued that a government by the people should include government by women because laws affect women as much as they do men. The fight for the right to vote. The fight for this right was long, desperate, and violent battle. E.g., the United Kingdom suffragettes were imprisoned, went on hunger strikes which resulted in forced feeding and even death. Others set afire buildings and etc. It took until 1928 in the United Kingdom that women's voting rights are equal to men, whereas Australia women used peaceful and legal means to fight for the right to vote. They were granted equal rights to vote with men in 1902, but they did not end the fight there because other nations like UK did not get equal voting rights until 1928, and they did what they can to effect change there too. Women in power and decision making. How much progress for men? Despite long and standing recognition of all fundamental rights of women and men to participate in political life and in practice, the gap between the jury and the de facto equality in the area of power and decision making remains wide. In conclusion, women's rights are women's rights are rights that belong to everyone, irrespective of their sex, race, color, religion, national or social origin, or other status. That's it. Thank you.